Tucson is getting, or has been, bad for a while, and I was a part of that, you know, pulling it in there, taking it in there, and distributing it, thinking I'm important, you know, thinking that this is what I'm supposed to do, using scripture, saying that my sin can save another person from death. People knowing that coming to me that no one's gonna get hurt, no one's gonna get stabbed, no one's gonna get killed, they're gonna get good, they're all gonna be happy. But
the devil's good at what he does, trying to trick us, you know, and I can't justify that anymore. So about 1.5 years ago, my one of my supposed friends comes to me, says they got a car, and told me if I could get rid of it. I said, bring it over here. Never been to Mexico, but I had friends that had connections over here. So I got you. He said, bring me back $500 and you keep the other 500 if you get 1,000. I was like, okay. So he had someone come pick me up, took me to the plug's house, Sicario. And so I sat there and they gave me some blues and I smoked them, and they said, just wait, your friends are gonna call, and you're probably gonna have to take something back. They're gonna send us some money. And I was like, okay. Took it back, went and dropped that off with them, and then that's my introduction to Mexico. After that, I started going back like 2-3 times a week, bringing back my own. It became easy, like clockwork, you know, and I was in my addiction. I was just lost, you know, but at the same time, grateful. And I was grateful that I had a place to sleep. You know, without that, it made me think like I could be out. I'll be dead. I'd be dead. In Sonora, from someone from this side, to go over there and they know he's on drugs, they pretty much beat him to death and throw him in a tree. I became someone I didn't want to be. And God answered my prayer and took me to this county jail. I remember sitting in my room just like hurting. I found God here in this county jail. This is the first year that I'm actually clean. When I got out of prison, I was clean, but it wasn't the same. It was different. You know, I wasn't even clean then around my daughters. This is the first year that I've been clean since her passing. I've always felt as part of something bigger, like something I can't explain, and I can see now that I was looking for it. And I have one friend from back then that got a hold of me recently, and to be honest, I owe money. And he said, don't worry about it. When time is right, you're good. Just, I'm glad to hear you're doing good. I was telling him everything I'm doing, but the gang thing, everything happens for a reason. I can't live in regret. I can't think, maybe if this happened or that happened, because if any of it didn't happen, then I wouldn't be who I am right now. I had to go through all that. Something I tell myself almost every day. I'm gonna let the rest of my life be an expression of my gratitude.
What caused you to become homeless?
Drinking and doing drugs.
What were those drugs?
Our drugs was crack.
All the places I was going to had bed bugs. If it wasn't bed bugs, you see people with diapers on or using the bathroom outside, or you have constantly problems every day in the Peachtree.
But half of my so-called friends are dead because they tried that new drug. Nowadays, I don't talk to nobody. Like I said, all my friends are dead. And this is what I look out the window like this every day. This is ridiculous. Right here, I'm not safe. I tell anybody I'm not safe. They find dead bodies here. It's not safe. You think you're safe, but you're not. Just because you got a bolt lock on that door, that don't mean you're safe.
You said you have 2 children.
Yes.
They're older now, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. One of them being myself, your daughter. And so, how was that when you had to go through that journey and we were in the system?
Well, for me, it hurts because when your kids is gone and the drugs is gone, you're hurting. Because only thing doing drugs and drinking, the sober up or anything is hard. I got off drugs because I got grandkids and I got kids. And I just can't see myself down on my luck on the streets, still smoking and drinking. And I'm 62 years old now. I put that on my backside because I would show my kids that I could do better than what I was doing. Going in and out of jail, that was not for me. God got me where I'm at today. I'm blessed to have my own place, saving money to get me a car, and saving to get another place to live.
All my life, having a home, I had a place, I had a key, I had a door I could go into, and that's where I stayed. I had my stuff there, but when I became homeless, there's 40 million doors in Chicago, but I can go through some of them, like a church or a public library, but the moment comes when somebody, maybe the security guard, comes along and say, hey buddy, you gotta go. I started training classical music, European classical, when I was 3. And by the time I was 10, I was like Orchestra Hall, like Carnegie Hall in Chicago. But I never thought that I would be in a position of complete hopelessness. I fell in love with her at first sight. And when she told me that I'm not in love with you anymore, my whole life for 18 years revolved around her and the kids. And if I can't be that person that, like the model that I learned from my father being a good father, then the question comes up, well, who am I? I was depressed. I didn't know where to turn. I wouldn't talk to people. But at the same time, I was still a piano player, and I learned how to get a keyboard and play on the sidewalk if I couldn't get a piano job at a hotel. It had 50 different problems associated with it. Rain, sunlight on the keyboard, making it too hot. So I could only play at certain times, certain days. It depended on the weather. After my divorce, I lost everything, and I lost my mind too, because I didn't know how to rebuild because our finances were welded together. One of the first things that we did was we went through bankruptcy to separate everything, and I'm just ruined financially. What I did for about a year and a half, and when I was at the depths of my depression, I would ride the commuter train all night. Which is like Russian roulette. You never know from one moment to the next what could happen to you. At the same time, you are so exhausted that you have to sleep sometime. And the weather is like 30 below zero. The train would go to one end every hour and a half. Then I have to wake up and probably stand in the cold for 10 or 15 minutes, until the next train. I saw people frozen solid. And that would be somebody that he just got a bottle of whiskey and he just got full and just went to sleep in an alley. One of the things that drove me nuts early on about being homeless, I would go from one resource to another, and they would ask me like a list, are you an ex-convict? No. Are you recovering on drugs and you want to recover? No. Are you this? Are you that? No. I'm just homeless. I'm a displaced worker or something, And because I wasn't any of those things, I just fell between the cracks. I was connected to this subsidized housing. It's very small fee, and it's quiet. It's relatively safe. Everybody in the world is fighting their own silent battle that I know nothing about. So the thing was that I had to keep talking to God about what am I supposed to do. God is blessing me, and I don't whine and complain because He has blessed me.